When deployed, the ram air parachute quickly inflates. It then acts as a rigid wing. The trooper steers himself using left and right toggles towards the landing zone.
You want to turn left, pull down your left steering toggle. What that does, it shuts off the air to the left-hand side of the parachute, causing it to rotate around to the left.
As he approaches the ground, he has a new problem to consider: when to drop the heavy Bergen. For stability during freefall and the parachute descent, it's been strapped to the back of the legs.
Approximately 1,000 feet, we start looking for wind direction indicators. In other words, smoke coming out of chimneys, where there may be trees blowing, what direction the wind's coming from. He's got to land his parachute into wind.
As he comes into land, he slides his Bergen down to the end of his legs. To touch down safely, he has to release it onto a line. Timing is critical. If he lets go too early, it will act as a pendulum, causing the trooper to lose control.
10, 15 feet off the ground, he will flick the Bergen off his feet and let it land on the ground nice and gently. The reason for this is he may have equipment in there, might be a laser target marker, or maybe binoculars in there that we require for the operation. If he lets it hit the ground at high speed as he's coming into land, it can damage the equipment in the Bergen. When you're coming into land, you guide yourself into wind, flare the canopy down, it will shut off the air, but the canopy will sit back. And you should land on the ground nice and gently, if you do it properly.
Finally, the trooper has to hide his parachute before continuing with the rest of his mission. Eddie is waiting for the rest of his air troop patrol to arrive at the rendezvous near the landing site. The men have had to find their way individually from where they landed. Our drop has been a success. All members of the patrol are safely in position. They take a quick admin break, sorting themselves out whilst maintaining all-round defence.
Right, listen lads. This will be our first ERV, yeah? Here.
On the way to the target,
Okay.
Eddie will designate a number of ERVs, emergency rendezvous points.
This is in case, en route, we get bumped by the enemy. In other words, we have a contact with the enemy. The patrol splits, then they can get back to the emergency rendezvous point where we can re-establish what we're going to do, select a different route and head off and try and carry on with the mission. I'm going to head off. Point. Number 2.
The next stage of the mission is the tab to target area.
Tab. Tactical advance to battle.
Going for a little walk, carry the house on your back.
Each soldier is expected to have exceptional navigational skills, but to help plot the route to the target, they'll be using GPS, a global positioning system. It's a satellite-based navigation aid originally developed by the US military. It can pinpoint a user's location to within a few meters anywhere in the world. To do this, the handset needs a signal from at least 3 of 24 purpose-built satellites orbiting the Earth.
In this case here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 satellites showing. Gives me my grid reference, 222171. I'll get my map out. Okay, I've now located exactly where I am. I know where the target is. So when we set off on our route, that will tell me, after a period of time, how long it's taken me to cover a kilometre. So I can then work out from that how long it's going to take me to reach my target area.
The patrol moves out. Every one of them is an experienced soldier trained to use all kinds of navigational tools.
Don't forget, you must still be an excellent map reader. This is a useful tool, but you should never rely on it totally. Moving into an enemy position or moving into an area of operation isn't about head down, arse up, and getting there as fast as you can. You've got to move tactically at all times, adapting different formations depending on what the country's like. When we're patrolling along, each person has their own arc of responsibility. In other words, they're covering a specific area.
Moving tactically is second nature to an SAS trooper. They know they could be bumped or compromised at any time when operating behind enemy lines. Over the next few days, Air Troop will establish an observation post near the target, note the enemy movements, and draw up a plan for the assault. Then, the next stage of the operation can begin. This will be the responsibility of Boat Troop. Their job is to get the squadron ashore if there's an approach from water.
2/3 of the planet is water. Therefore, in most operations for its insertion, there is always an amphibious slant or angle.
They are trained in sea navigation, can pilot almost any small craft, are expert divers, and may even have to be handy with a surfboard.
Amphibious operations is quite complicated in that we're in a medium where men can be drowned before they even get to the start line to go to war.
Members of the Boat Troop will pilot the craft that will carry in the rest of the squadron. Their job is to get them ashore safe and dry.
A wet, cold soldier will not be thinking about the operation, he'll be thinking about getting dry.
Aboard the boats, the SAS often wear a waterproof dry suit called an ISBO, Immersion Suit Boating Operations. This is worn over their DPMs.
DPM, Disruptive Pattern Material, camouflage.
The boat commander is responsible for safety. Zips can be a particular danger. If left undone, the suit can fill with water. Result, the soldier who is carrying heavy equipment is dragged under. The SAS use an assault craft called a Gemini. It's inflatable, so it can be easily deployed at sea. Everything required for a mission has to be stowed on this craft. They use special watertight bags. As well as carrying the Bergams and other equipment, the bag can be filled with air and used as a flotation aid. Useful if you need to swim into shore. This is then clipped to the boat. Weapons and equipment are stowed and secured to the boat, so that in the event of a capsize, hands are free to right the craft and the patrol's ability to fight is not lost to the sea. Sea conditions, tides and currents are all factors the boat commander will have weighed up in the planning. He'll select a landing point from the weather forecast, charts, and what's the safest option for the squadron at the time. In our fictitious mission, the squadron will launch from a mothership in neutral waters and land at low tide when the beach is exposed. If time and conditions allow, he may recce the coastline in advance for a suitable site. It is vital to choose a landing site with plenty of cover, such as rocky outcrops. But a beach surrounded with heavy rocks can prove to be treacherous in stormy weather. In the meantime, Air Troop have tabbed from the drop zone to the target area, along the way pointing out emergency rendezvous points. For the past 2 days, they've been watching the target from an OP, observation post. The SAS are expert in covert intelligence gathering. Central to this is the role of the OP.
By the front gate.
Long-term OPs involve digging in and effectively living in a hole in the ground for days, maybe weeks. During counter-terrorist operations in urban areas, there will be more hiding spots. But again, the soldier will be expected to eat, sleep, and go to the toilet at his post. This is called hard routine.